The year is 1787. 11 restless years have passed since the United States tore itself free from the British Empire. Yet victory has not brought peace. Instead, the newborn nation staggers under crushing debt, political infighting, and an uncertainty so deep it threatens to swallow the republic whole. Veterans unpaid, hungry, betrayed rise up in desperate revolt. Shays' rebellion shakes the country to its bones. Though the government survives, it becomes painfully clear the Articles of Confederation are too weak to hold the fragile Union together. So delegates gather in Philadelphia to forge a stronger constitution, one that will give the executive power enough muscle to keep the nation alive. But even as America tries to rebuild itself, another storm is gathering beyond the frontier. In the enormous wildlands, newly labeled the Northwest Territory, a crisis is about to explode. Britain ceded this sprawling region to the United States after the Revolutionary War. From the Appalachian Mountains to the Mississippi River, from the Great Lakes to the Ohio River, it is a vast 300,000 square miles of forest, rivers, prairies, and untouched resources land the government desperately hopes to sell to pay off its $40 million war debt. Settlers are eager, ravenous, even dreaming of new farms and fresh beginnings. But the problem is as immense as the territory itself. Thousands of illegal settlers are already crossing into the region, and Native American nations who have lived there for generations are united in one promise: they will not surrender their homeland. The United States is stumbling into a war of conquest, one it is spectacularly unprepared for, against an enemy it dangerously underestimates. European settlers have been invading native lands for nearly 2 centuries. Violence is constant, endless. Entire tribes in the East have already been wiped out. During the Revolutionary War, most native nations sided with the British, hoping to stop the American tide. Warriors from the Shawnee, Miami, and Lenape struck along the Ohio River, trying to drive the intruders back. Settler militias retaliated with their own brutality. In 1782, at Gannadinu, Pennsylvania, militiamen butchered 96 peaceful Lenape Christian convertsmen, women, and children. Native raids could be equally merciless. Families on both sides lived in fear. The cycle of vengeance never stopped. But the United States government has now decided to bring order to the frontier and, more importantly, to begin selling the land to speculators and settlers. Treaty after treaty is pushed on native leaders, claiming land by right of conquest, enforced through threats, intimidation, and bribes. Then Congress officially creates the Northwest Territory, outlining how it will be surveyed and sold. Under Mohawk leader Joseph Brant, dozens of tribes unite into the Northwestern Confederacy. They reject every U.S. treaty. They reject the idea of American settlement. They vow that the Ohio River will remain the permanent boundary and that any attempt to cross it will be met with war. George Washington, sworn in as the first U.S. president in 1789, is immediately pulled into the crisis. America is drowning in debt. His cabinet is already fracturing into rival factions, and now, the West threatens to explode. Washington speaks publicly of wanting peace with Native Americans, of wanting fairness and diplomacy, but privately, he refuses to let anything obstruct American expansion. Land speculators, some in his own cabinet, push relentlessly for action. Their profits depend on settlers feeling safe. In 1789, one last attempt at negotiation is made. The tribes refuse to attend. The message is clear. If the United States wants the Northwest Territory, it will have to fight for it. So, in 1790, Washington authorizes a punitive expedition, a display of force meant to intimidate the tribes. But intimidation will prove a fantasy. Leadership of the mission falls to Brigadier General Joseph Harmar, a decorated veteran who once endured the winter at Valley Forge. But frontier warfare is not European warfare, and Harmar relying on rigid drills, linear formations, and questionable discipline marches into the wilderness with 1,400 men, most of them raw, unreliable militia. His target, the Miami village of Kikuanki. The Miami, Shawnee, and Lenape watch him come. They burn their own homes, vanish into the trees, and prepare a trap. Harmar finds empty ruins and believes this means victory. Then, as small detachments scout ahead, warriors descend from the forest. An entire company of regulars refuses to break. They stand their ground and are wiped out almost to the last man. Days later, Harmar walks headlong into another perfectly executed ambush. 100 Americans die where they stand, scalped and left in the mud. Harmar limps back, claiming success, but the truth echoes across the frontier. It is Harmar's defeat. Native warriors continue their raids through the winter. Settlers panic. Speculators rage, and Washington, furious and humiliated, turns to a new commander, Arthur Clair, governor of the Northwest Territory. A seasoned veteran of multiple wars, is given a single option: crush the tribes, or be crushed. Congress authorizes a second regiment of but recruiting is so poor that the new army is a patchwork of half-trained levies, aging militia, untested volunteers, and only a few hundred professional soldiers. The Northwestern Confederacy, aware another invasion is coming, prepares for a showdown they know could decide the survival of their people. Little Turtle, Blue Jacket, Bakungahalas. Under these war chiefs, one of the largest native forces ever assembled on the frontier gathers roughly 1,400 warriors. They carry British muskets from Fort Detroit. They know the woods. They know the trails. They know the Americans are marching straight toward them. St. Clair's preparations fall apart before he even leaves Fort Washington. Corrupt contractors have stolen supplies. There is a shortage of food, gunpowder, axes, pack animals. Everything an army needs to survive. Weeks are wasted. Men grow sick and bitter. Still, St. Clair presses on. 2 preliminary raids led by Generals Scott and Wilkinson burn villages and take hostage Little Turtle, his own daughter. Instead of weakening native resolve, these attacks ignited into an unbreakable unity. By the time St. Clair finally marches north in October, winter is already whispering through the trees. Rain turns to frost, frost to snow. Soldiers freeze at night and slog through mud by day. Flour runs out. Morale collapses, dozens, desert, many more fall ill. Meanwhile, the tribes track every step. They wait, they watch, and then they prepare to strike. On November 3rd, St. Clair lost, exhausted, and unaware he is only miles from a massive enemy force orders camp built on a plateau near the Wabash River. The militia is forced to camp across the stream, dangerously separated. St. Clair gives no order to fortify. He doesn't know death is moving silently toward him. Before dawn on November 4th, 1,200 warriors surround the American position in a crescent formation. At first light, they erupt from the trees with a thunderous war cry. Militia sentries fire a few panicked shots before fleeing in terror. Warriors sweep through their camp in minutes. Survivors splash across the freezing Wabash, screaming for help. In the main camp, regulars grab their muskets. Artillerymen load the 6 cannons, but chaos erupts as routed militia block their line of fire. Smoke hangs low, shots crack through the trees. Guns roar, but most of their shells fly high, ripping harmlessly into branches. Native sharpshooters, target officers, gunners, and anyone foolish enough to stand in the open. Encirclement tightens. Like a noose. In less than 30 minutes, hundreds of Americans are dead or wounded. St. Clair orders a counterattacker. Desperate bayonet, charged under Colonel Dark. For a moment it works. Wyandotte warriors fall back. But it is a trap. Dark's men are lured too far. Cut off, surrounded, and driven back with terrifying losses. Shawnee warriors burst into the southern edge of camp, killing wounded men, civilians, and camp followers. Chaos reigns. Major Hart leads a rescue charge, but is shot dead. By 8:30 a.m., nearly every U.S. officer is dead or dying. General Butler is mortally wounded. Soldiers are breaking, dropping weapons, crawling for cover. St. Clair is coat shot, 2 pieces rallies. The last survivors for one final attempt to escape. The warriors fall silent. A terrible calm descends. Then Little Turtle gives the signal. The final attack begins. It is overwhelming. St. Clair orders a breakout down the narrow forest trail. Regulars led bayonets fixed, smashing through the enemy line. Behind them, the retreat disintegrates into a frantic stampede. Wounded are left behind, begging for help that never comes. St. Clair stays near the rear, refusing to abandon his men until the very last moment. Then he, too, flees. Warriors pursue the broken army for miles before turning back to finish those left behind. The battlefield becomes a place of deathly silence. That night, the warriors celebrate one of the greatest victories in Native American history. By the time survivors stagger into Fort Jefferson, the scale of the catastrophe becomes clear. 2/3 of the army are dead, wounded, or missing. All cannons are lost. 1,200 muskets gone. Native losses. Barely 60. It is the single worst defeat the U.S. Army will ever suffer at the hands of Native Americans, greater even than the bloodiest battles of the Revolutionary War. A stunned Congress launches its first ever investigation. St. Clair is cleared of personal blame, but the Army's failures are undeniable. The next commander, Mad Anthony Wayne, will rebuild the entire force from the ground up before daring to march north again. For Little Turtle, Blue Jacket, and Bokongahelas, the Battle of the Wabash is a brilliant, triumphant moment. When the United Tribes of the Northwest Confederacy proved their strength to the world, but it is also the peak of their resistance. The United States will return with a reorganized army, overwhelming resources, and a single grim determination. The conquest of the Northwest Territory, and under the shadow of fallen timbers, the future of the frontier will be decided.